This is a 2000 Mustang GT ragtop. We're going to do some work on it today. It has a window regulator that's bad. This door won't go up and down. We're going to discuss taking this door panel off. We're going to have to get some light over here so we can see. We're going to try to do the window regulator the easy way. Here's just an Amazon window regulator, A premium, whatever that is. And we're going to do something a little different. Most instructions tell you to drill these rivets out that's on this track that goes onto the bottom of the window. And what we're going to do is we're just going to remove this track altogether. We're going to push the pins on the track that's still welded to the window, and we're going to try to slide this regulator into the track of the existing window and try to put this electrical motor back on there without having too much of a mess. But we want to discuss with you guys on how to take this window apart, or not the window apart, but the door panel, because it's not complicated, but it's just a lot of people need to know where the pins and stuff are. This is the later model. I guess it's SN95 New Edge from 99 to 04. But I believe this procedure that we're getting ready to do, other than a few little changes, goes all the way back to the, 94 to 2004. So I think there's some similarities between the 94 and 2004, just very few body changes, but I think the door panel and window regulators are similar. First thing you're going to do is get some tools. He's got a whalebone here, and the whalebone's a little blue trim piece. He's got a Phillips screwdriver and just another piece of trim panel puller, this little thing. But I don't think we got no push pins. We got one down there. And you can use a flathead screwdriver with a piece of tape on it. You just don't want to scratch your car up. We got to take this little cover here off for the what they call Boss, I think it is, the Mach stereo system. It's a tweeter up here. He's going to put his well, we don't need it probably. He's going to put his little blue whalebone in there. It's just a plastic trim puller. I call it a whalebone because in the sewing world, I think that's what they call it for upholstery. So you got that off there. Now there is a push pin that's down there in the front, the very front there, and you got to take that one push pin out. He's going to get it out. Now that the push pin is removed, we want to take the switch control panel off. It just means taking there's a little clip hole right there, and you can gently push down on the top there, and pop that top out. Gently push down on that, it'll come out. And then you want to slide it forward slightly to keep this tab down here from breaking off. Which I think on this one, the tab is already broken off. There's a tab usually that goes down in here. But somebody's been in here before. We already knew that the other day. Next thing he's going to do is take a Phillips screwdriver and take this switch panel loose. Now that the switch is removed, take the switch panel and set it aside. Inside this door, there should be 2 Phillips screws holding this door panel on, and maybe a push pin, but we don't have the push pins, and I think there's only 1 Phillips screw, so somebody's take them out. But in most cases, you'll probably have a push pin and 2 Phillips screws holding this door pull on. So he's going to remove those now. Next, he's going to take the trim for the door opener, the door handle. He's going to take that piece of trim off. There should be a little slot somewhere where you can just pop in behind it, work your way around it. Take that apart and set it aside. Now with all those trim pieces and push pins removed, you should be able to just lift the door panel out of place. It should lift right up. It'll catch slightly on your speaker up there, but it should come right on out. And these doors have, if you'll look at them, they've got these little tabs, and they go down into holes in the door. So you have to lift up to get these tabs to pull away from the car. Now that the door panel's off, you can see somebody's been in here messing with this. I guess it's a dust shield, sound barrier, whatever it is. And we're just going to gently remove this. It's not sticking very good, but we will gently pull around it until we get it completely released from the car and get it out of our way. Once you get that trim out of the way, there's a little gray plug there that goes to the window regulator motor. Just disconnect it. This little gray plug. We're in here now. You can see these are the two motor bolts that hold the window drive regular motor. You've also got this brace here that holds one of the slides for the window. We're going to take this brace out, and it looks like these may be a 10 millimeter, and we may take this motor loose and drop it down. We're going to have to hold, one of us going to have to hold on to the window. So you'll probably need a helper if you're going to do this process. Yep, those are the motor bolts. Those bolts are 11 millimeter, not 10. I said 10. I was going to take the two drive motor bolts loose, but not push them in. Now he's going to remove the bolts out of this cross brace. I have my hand on the window. And save all your nuts and bolts because they don't come with the new regulator. Go ahead and push that bar in. Push it in, it should slide right off that slider. Okay, got that piece off. And he's taking the last two regulator bolts out. And this thing will try to slide down, so you gotta be careful. Now there shouldn't be anything holding the window up except those two studs back there. So, Tyler, we're going to hold the window, and he's going to push those studs back in, and it should let the window drop. Or watch it, that'll land on your finger like that. We'll get these out of the way, and we'll come back. Another thing I forgot to mention, you can take this trim piece off on the top. It makes it easier to maneuver the window. Now there's the original track, and it looks like it's released itself from the window, and it shouldn't have done that. It's come off the glass right here. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to push this pin down on the original track. We're going to leave it attached to the window. But we're going to have to put some silicone or something in here to glue that back to the window at some point. But right now we're going to try to get this motor out. Tyler's holding the window. And what we should be able to do and slide this back and out the end, and then flip it over and slide the other one out. Lift up slightly. Okay, that one's out. Now I should be able to take this one and slide it all the way back, upside down. And it's out. Now all I gotta do is fish this regulator out of here. Put the camera down. Now I've got the window regulator out. We're just going to reverse the process, and I'll bring you along as soon as I get the other window regulator over here. Well, despite our best efforts, we had to have too many hands to get this window. Something is wrong with my video here. Well, anyway, as I was saying, we tried to get a video of this. You have to take the motor and slide it back in there, and you take this arm here and you slide it into the track, then you have to flip this arm and put the back end in. And while Tyler raises the window up, I can put this other track back on, and then we can slide our studs in and start our motor bolts. We got all four of our motor bolts in and our two track bolts in. But you have to be able to rotate this. You have to have it loose enough where you can rotate this arm upside down. It keeps popping this little box up here on my video. I don't know if it's going to be on the film or not. I didn't do a really good job of explaining that. this is how the motor sits in the door. You slide the new motor back in the door, and you've got this piece that hinges. So when you put it in the door, you want it to be all the way over like this, to where these two pieces are together. And this would represent the track on the bottom of the window. This is the window that's mounted permanently to the window. You want to take and start this one in, which is hard going in. Get it started going in there, then you have to rotate this piece back over. Once you rotate it over, you can slide your second piece in. It didn't go that easy in the door. Once you got that lined up, then you can put this outer track back in, which I use the factory one. We'll put the factory one back in. Put it on, you can put the nuts on it. Then you can slide these two right back in through the door, put them in, and then put these two bolts in. You got these two nuts, these two bolts, and these two nuts. That holds everything in. We've still got another problem that we're going to have to address, that the glue has come off of the window retainer. Now, we didn't pull that off. It was already loose. I would say when they started having window problems, that got pulled loose in the process. Right now, Tyler's just going to go ahead and tighten all of his 11mm bolts back up. He's got 6 bolts, and that should have the window regulator back in place. Sure, when you put your assembly back in, that you pull this plug back through. You want this plug to be back where you can get to it, because if it gets dropped down behind that motor and you tighten it up, you won't be able to get it out of there. Now, we did remove that upper trim piece just to make it easier to manipulate the window. Now we're going to hook the cord back up and the switch assembly and see if we can get it to roll up and down. Now you have to turn his ignition on. Now we do have our centering things on the window, so it should be in the track. And nothing. We did check the switches the other day. The switch was good. It doesn't look like that cord might not be pushed all the way in. We may have to get the power probe out and find out what's going on here.
Oh, yeah.
It should be working. We'll be back. Rolled it all the way up. Okay. What was that? Faulted out.
Seatbelt.
Seatbelt. Okay. Roll it back down, but be gentle because we don't want it to pull out of that holder. Well, it looks like we've also got a bad switch, because he's using the driver's side switch and it seems to be working just fine. But we tried the driver's side switch before. We knew the motor wasn't working before, so we'll probably have to have another switch or figure out what's wrong with this. We may take it apart and dig around in it. Right now we're going to have to address this. It's already trying to come back loose back here. Or at least it looks like it is. So we'll have to deal with that. We're going to try to find some silicone, clean it up a little bit where we can glue it back in. And then we should be ready to go on this window. Now we've got that window silicone back to the track holder. And that's not part of it changing this. It's just something we had to do, and you might run into it too. When we get done, we'll roll the window all the way up. It ain't got nothing to push against because it's of course it's a convertible. There's a little bit of trim there that may hold it in place. We don't want to roll it back down again until this sets up. That way it's good and glued in there. But everything went well, other than we're probably going to have a switch. We're not thinking it might not be the switch, it might be the wiring, but we are getting hot to the switch. So it may be a ground issue, but if it had a ground issue, it wouldn't work from the other side. So we're just going to order a $15 switch and be done with that. We got to put this plastic trim piece back on, and then we're going to put our sound deadener, dust liner, whatever it is, put it back on the door, and we'll do a reverse of how we started. You got the vapor shield back on. Now you got to do is you've got to push it back in. You got to get this lock hole lined up here. Well, I can't see it. Be sure to line the lock up, and then you slide them tabs right back in the door. They push in and down. Shot me. There we go, it's going down in there. But it didn't go, the locks didn't go in. Lift it back up. We got the door panel back on, but it was tricky. One of the little clips is bent, and we never got it to fall in down there and fall in up here at the same time. So it can be tricky. Now he's putting the switches back on with the Phillips screws. Put the one Phillips screw that we had back in that panel to hold it on here, because that's part of your pull. You don't want to pull the door panel off. And once you get that switch back on, which we'll have to take the switch cover back off, but it's easy. You just, when we get a new switch. So once he gets this on here, we'll come back. Now the speaker cover. Now that's the door back together. Now try your window and see if you can roll all the way up, but just don't roll it back down. Oh, it looks like it's binding. Keep on going. Definitely binding in it. Going up with it. Is that all it'll do? Come on up. Yeah, I think it was a little bit off center where the glue had come loose on it. It's not pushing it all the way up. A little more? Okay, we may have to take it back apart. Something's off track somewhere. Well, Tyler's finishing it up. We did have to take the door panel back off. This front track, it's only got one track. This front track, whenever we was moving it around back there to glue it, came out up here. So we had to put it back in the front track. I didn't show any of that because we had to take it all back apart and do it again. And there's no way to get a camera in there to show you, but it's just a little finger that sticks inside that track. We had to line this window back up. If you don't have the loose glue part like we did, you won't have to worry about it anyway, so it's no big deal. But that's us changing the window track on a Mustang. First time I've done one of these. It started off easy, it went in easy, but then getting that window line back up where it would open and close. It's also a convertible, and the top is shrank, so you have to kind of hold the glass in when you shut it, or the top will hold it out. That's not the window well adjustment, it does it on both sides. The top rubs the glass just slightly and it won't close all the way. It's just the top is, what, 24 years old? So it's shrunk really bad. But that's all we got for today. I do appreciate you guys riding along. Thanks for hanging out. And we'll catch you on the next one. We'll be doing more to this stuff. And got a few more cars we're going to work on. So thanks. Stay clean, everybody. See you later.